Oh, man, that is wild. Absolutely wild. What's up, guys? BC coming at you. I'm just reading this article. It has nothing to do with today's upload, but this just came out. This article, apparently there's a superstore set up where the Royal Rumble is taking place. Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, just like they do with WrestleMania, like they have the superstore. They have one for the Rumble. And yesterday, to start the day, they had all the Vince McMahon collection out, including his Royal Rumble 1999 t-shirt. Apparently this morning when the store opened up, all of the Vince McMahon shirts and entire collection was pulled from the shelves and off the line. So it's just wild, man. The dude that created the company, who was the owner of this company up until not too long ago, and his merch is being pulled. Wild times, man. Given the circumstances, not shocking. I trust me, I hear you. It's just still wild to think about, right? The dude was the owner. He's the creator, and up until not long ago, the owner of the company, and his merchandise is being pulled off this. That's wild, man. Absolutely wild. But the whole story just keeps getting kind of just left field with a hockey stick. Anyway, for this upload, we're going to talk SmackDown. I got the full preview for tonight, guys, and it looks like a good card, actually. We're going to go over it. It has the potential, anyway, to be very good, and I think they're coming from Miami tonight. Because they want to be Florida bound. They want to make sure travel's not an issue. So Miami tonight and then Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg for tomorrow. Most of them will make the trip right after SmackDown. But it's the main event that has BC saying or asking, why? Why, WWE? Why? Why do you do this? I'll explain when we get to the main event. First and foremost, a big thank you to you guys. It was a double upload day yesterday, so if you didn't know that, if you thought we just put up one upload, maybe the Jey Uso upload when he's talking candidly about CM Punk's return at the Survivor Series, I actually played the interview for you, and it's wild, man. It was a lot of good discussion. But hours later, we did a live stream, and it covered the entire Vince McMahon situation, as well as Kevin Patrick fired from SmackDown, speaking of. So if you guys didn't catch that or didn't hear the news, Kevin Patrick will not be on commentary tonight. And then we heard he was not just removed from his duties on commentary, but he was released, fired by WWE. So we talked all about that in the live stream as well. So I appreciate you guys that caught both uploads. That last one we did last night is over 10,000 views. So you guys absolutely just, man, you showed up amplified for that one. And it didn't end there. Some shout outs to some super subscribers. There you go. They were super thanks, super chats afterwards. This was after we were done being live, but you guys continue to show the support down in the comments. Yellow Rose with a 5-spot coffee. Super thanks. Thanks. Great time live today, BC. Yellow Rose, always good seeing you up in here, whether live or on regular uploads. It's always good to see you up in here, Yellow Rose, a longtime supporter of this channel. So I got to give you a proper salute, Yellow Rose. You're thanking BC, I'm thanking you right back. And Clint Green with a couple of thankses over to BC for the live stream. Again, same thing to you, Clint. Thank you right back. I'm glad you came across the stream and were entertained. That's what it's all about. Hopefully, I provided thought-provoking conversation as well. But I thank you guys absolutely, man. So you guys just kept on rocking even when we were done being live. So I appreciate that big time. If you guys didn't catch the uploads, check them out. Double upload day yesterday. And today's the same. This is the preview. After SmackDown is off the air, within an hour or two, give me some time to record it, but the review will be up on the channel. You won't have to wait till tomorrow for that. That'll be later tonight. So another double upload day. So that is that. Now, for the preview, let's get into it. Let's go to the undercard, and then we'll get to the main event and why BC is asking why to WWE. Swig of coffee, and we'll get right into this show. Okay, so undercard. We most likely are going to start out with this unless they do like a promo segment, which I hope. You know, I always want storyline to take precedent over the wrestling on weekly, on the episodic shows. But BC, it's a wrestling show, man. We need more wrestling. More. We have enough wrestling, man. You can go to the local bingo hall and get 1,000 matches a week. These are episodic shows. We want the story to matter, man. Build up the characters, build up the stories. The pay-per-views will be much more fun. I promise you guys. I've been watching this stuff for over 3 decades. I know when the story matters and when the characters are meaningful, everything is going to make a lot more sense and it's going to matter a lot more. So just trust me on this. Build the stories. Take time on it. Some of the highest rated segments over the last 10 years. It's been of all time, but let's just take the last 10 years where WWE's been a little on-offish and a lot more times offish. The biggest segments is when they dedicated a lot of time to like promos and just the story building aspect. It wasn't even the wrestling matches. So like just this past year when they were doing all the bloodline thing with Sami Zayn and one, they were going 25 minutes, no commercials, and the ratings were through the roof. It shows you that people, especially the casuals, they'll flock to it when they're seeing the storylines develop. Anyway, so I hope they do start off with a promo or some backstage stuff going on, really set up the night, plant some seeds for some special things that happen through the night. And then when the night is over, you set up a big cliffhanger. Now you gotta whip out the wallet and get that Peacock subscription service because you gotta catch the Royal Rumble tomorrow night. But if they don't decide to do that, match-wise, I believe the first match of the night would most likely be this one. Carlito versus Santos Escobar. Just seems like one of those matches they would kick the night off with, try to get some high-flying moves, try to get the crowd to chant, "This is awesome," right? Really cater to that niche more than anything. I told you guys last week with the 6-man tag involving Santos and his boys and Carlito and his boys in the LWO. I said more than likely that's going to start the night wrestling-wise. Sure enough, that's what happened. So I wouldn't be shocked. They could go Hayes Theory, but Carlito versus Santos is scheduled for tonight. They pretty much, again, been doing this Carlito and his boys versus Santos and his boys for the last several weeks. So this is just continuing that. They have to be careful. If you're not adding layers to this, it becomes less of a feud and more of redundancy. And redundancy is never fun. So they got to be careful. I'm at that line. I like Carlito. You guys know that. There's so much potential in Santos Escobar. There's no doubt they're going to have a good match tonight. I hope there's more layers to this, though. Especially if you're going to keep this going. Because how long do they have anything aside from Santos and Carlito and their separate factions? If you stop that, what are you going to have for LWO? Where does Santos go from here? They could take the easy way out, the lazy route, and they could just continue this all the way to Mania. You could be getting Escobar versus Carlito matches for the next 12 weeks. Anyway, Carlito Escobar, that's tonight. Carmelo Hayes is taking on Austin Theory tonight. Now, you guys know a couple weeks ago they had that match where it ended in the botched impromptu finish. And it was the right call. The referee did not like that landing upon research. You guys saw in the review, I actually put the photo of how Austin Theory landed on his neck. Not even just his head. He landed on his neck and on top of Carmelo somehow. I don't even know how you pulled off both, but Austin Theory found a way to do it. Thankfully, both are okay. Nothing that serious. They needed a little bit of time off, and they're going to try to run it back. I think both they're prideful, and they know they can do better. So, for them, the last 2 weeks to have that weighing on them, oh man, that's the performance we put out. But things happen, that move wasn't even necessary. That's the thing, man. These flips and these dives and constantly being dropped on your head, your neck, or your upper back We see this too many times in pro wrestling matches. We understand it's not ballet. We like that they take risks and chances, and in 2024, the athletes are more athletic than ever before. Awesome. In fact, they are athletes these days. We get it, right? Gone are the days of Tugboat and Earthquake and Giant Gonzalez. Although you still have Omos's and Otis's, but, and even Otis, Ivar, big boys, but they can do moonsaults and who knows, maybe even Canadian destroyers for all we know. We get it. But you don't have to do that. Some of the most memorable matches for BC that I've watched thousands of times involved punches, kicks, clotheslines, body slams, call it a day. Their mannerisms, their expressions, the storytelling before the match, during the match, and what it sets up after for both individuals, that always took precedent. We just wanted to see them. The story was so good, we just wanted to see them bash each other in the dome piece. Just start punching each other. We needed to see the collision. No pun intended to AEW. But we needed to see that because it was set up so good. Nowadays, they just think if we go out there and we do all the things we did in our backyard growing up on the trampoline, if we do it in the ring, man, they're going to go back and watch this match 1,000 times. They're going to yell, "This is awesome!" We'll get a big applause when we go to the back. No. In fact, if you're not careful, you're going to get injured time after time, and that's what we saw 2 weeks ago. It's just not needed. That Spanish fly from the turnbuckle. Stop. For a SmackDown match that nobody's going to go back and watch anyway. These wrestlers have to stop getting dropped on their heads too many times. But you see, these are just botches. I'm sure they're not going out there trying to be dropped on their head. Yes, they are. I can't tell you how many pile drivers and DDTs and the Canadian destroyers that are being performed off of 720 planchas. They keep getting more wild by the match. To the point where, yes, that's exactly how they're supposed to be landing, right? Because it's the illusion. WWE had to ban the pile driver years ago because they were getting a lot of stingers and a lot of injuries. They kind of saw the trajectory where wrestling was going. They were like, hold up. Those pile drivers ain't happening anymore, man. This is getting risky. Vince McMahon knew there was going to be a lot of money being lost if broken necks started to occur at a much more rapid rate. Anyway, that's a little side spiel. Carmelo Hayes, Austin Theory. They're going to have the rematch tonight. I'm proud that they get the chance to run it back. I just hope they sell themselves. Put a story on in there. Don't worry about making this a circus sideshow. Actually get us captivated without having to do all of these gymnastics. Relax. In theory, he's not supposed to be a gymnast anyway, so don't try to match what Carmelo can do. That's not Theory's strong suit. Play to your strengths, hide your weaknesses. Caden Carter and Katana Chance will defend their tag team titles against the Kabuki Warriors Asuka and Kairi. Now, this is intriguing, and I'll tell you why, because the titles are not up for grabs tomorrow night at the Rumble. So WWE has done this so many times in the past where they're going to really put those into the headlines by the day before, the night before, they're going to have the titles change hands. So even though they're not defended at the Rumble, it sets the tone for the event, the Royal Rumble, right? Whoa, new champions crowned. If that's what happens on SmackDown, imagine what's going to happen in 24 hours at the Royal Rumble. I mean, that's just the appetizer to the main course meal, right? So WWE has done this many times in the past. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. They've had Chance and Carter on a tear lately. They've been beating, they're treating a lot of these teams like jobber teams because they're not even real teams. They just took individuals and thrown them together like Natty and Tegan Knox or Indy Hartwell and Candice. Much more of a team than Tegan and Natty. But anyway, Chance and Carter have been beating all of them, right? Tegan and Natty, Candice and Indy, Alba and Isla. They've been beating all of these teams thrown together. And it all led to tonight, which a lot of people thought was going to be saved for WrestleMania. Asuka and Kairi versus Chance and Carter, and that's where Kabuki Warriors would get their championships. No, they're going to do it tonight. Now, maybe it ends in a schmaz and they somehow try to drag this for another 2 months to WrestleMania. Unless you have a really good story that's being told, no thank you. It's one or the other. You're going to make this an actual story to Mania or you're doing it tonight. But to make tonight part of the story, you better have a damn good story, because I don't know how you're going to tell, like, they get the title shot tonight and somehow, no matter what happens tonight, they have to wait 2 more months to get the title shot again. I hope that makes sense. It's odd booking, but it's interesting, right? It's going to be intriguing tonight. Are they going to have the titles change hands? They've made these decisions in the past. One of the big 4 events tomorrow night. This could be the appetizer. These could be the headlines. And they really do want the whole Vince McMahon thing, all that's happening with those headlines. They really want you to start talking about something else. The Royal Rumble could not have come at a better time, right? Big things are going to happen tomorrow. Big match outcomes, a lot of surprises. They know that once that happens, the headlines will switch up. But that Damage Control, not Bayley and her group, actual TKO Endeavor Damage Control, that starts tonight for WWE. They could have new champions. It'll be intriguing. Also, this is intriguing to me. This is probably the segment I'm looking forward to the most. I just hope it lives up to the billing. It's Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits face-to-face with Final Testament. This is Karrion Kross, AOP, Scarlett Bordeaux, Paul Ellering. This is that group. And they're going to finally meet face-to-face with the Lashley and Street Profits clique. So the last couple weeks, they've been building us up pretty nicely. You know, not having them in the same vicinity, backstage, or at least vignettes played. Now it built to this. And I really hope they bring their best promo game. I hope there's a big layer to the story that's going to be told for when they do finally meet in the ring. But this is... I don't know, man. This has so much potential. It's going to be great because I'm hoping anyway, Lashley and Profits should not be smiling tonight. It's bad enough they're probably going to be in their damn suits. But I want the most serious Lashley and Profits. Like they're taking this damn serious and they're done playing it. Just like the New Day lately. I love the New Day attitude. Done with the trumpets and the damn bootios and the damn unicorns. New Day's rocking out. Lashley and Profits have to follow suit. I liked what I saw last week, but I've seen glimpses of that before, and the very next week, they're high-fiving little babies and smiling, and I'm like, oh boy, all we're missing is the red cups falling from the sky. Stop. So, interesting. That's probably the most intriguing segment to me because it has so much potential. I hope the care is put into it. And then you go to the main event. Oh, it's got BC asking why. So, LA Knight versus Solo Sikoa. BC, it sounds like a damn good main event, man. What do you mean, why? Oh, it's a good main event, right? LA Knight, Solo Sikoa. Okay. Here's the problem with it. Neither one of these dudes, first of all, there's many problems. We're going to start with point one, okay? This is the first thing I'll say about it. LA Knight and Solo Sikoa should not be losing, both of them. Neither dude can lose this match. That's straight up why BC is asking why. Capital letters with an exclamation point, not just the question mark. Why? Neither one can lose. LA Knight certainly can't. Several months ago, he couldn't even win the United States Championship. In fact, he couldn't even win the match that got him into the U.S. title match. That was a fatal four-way, and he lost it. A month later, they catapulted him to a heavyweight championship match with Roman. And he lost that. And he's going to lose tomorrow night at the Royal Rumble. He's not taking the title from Roman Reigns. And the highest point that this dude can reach at WrestleMania is probably maybe beating Logan Paul for the mid-card U.S. title. The same title he couldn't get 6 months ago. Or whatever it was, 5-6 months. So you see what I'm saying here. His booking right now really is on the ropes. He can't just lose this on a Friday night as he's about to lose tomorrow night as well. and then set something up for the mid-card title. LA Knight, man, if you're not careful, his momentum will burn out faster than Bushwhacker Butch was eliminated from the Royal Rumble back in, 91 was it? Or was it Bushwhacker Luke? Maybe it was Butch. Did Santino beat that record years later? Maybe Santino beat that record. Anyway, that was the funniest thing. It was Butch or Luke, one of the Bushwhackers. I think it was 90 or 91's Royal Rumble. I think it was 91. And he's bushwhackering to the ring. He gets in the ring, and maybe it was Earthquake or somebody. He gets in the ring, and he's still bushwhackering. And he gets thrown right over the top rope. And he continues to bushwhack right to the back. He didn't even care. He's like, okay. It was one of the funniest eliminations. Still makes me laugh to this day. But the point is, if you're not careful, man, LA Knight's momentum will burn out faster than the Bushwhackers in a Royal Rumble. On the flip side, Solo certainly cannot lose again. We've talked about this several times this week. Solo Sikoa, guys. We have talked about... I told you guys several times he has lost 21 straight matches since he annihilated John Cena. He has not won a match since. 21. Guys, that's changed. It is now 22. He continues to lose to AJ Styles. He lost again at a house show. So that was 2 after SmackDown last week. So it's now 22 straight losses in a row ever since John Cena did the mega deed for him at Crown Jewel in November. 22 straight L's. He's only 2 out of his last 35 matches now. 2 wins out of 35. But it's not just the wins and losses, right? That was a big conversation when TK was so upset that Jinder Mahal was getting a title match, and he was talking wins and losses. They're definitely important, right? But there's way more. It's about your booking, the consistency, right? Like, how are you booking these individuals? Guys, they had Solo just lose to Randy Orton last week, flat on his back looking up at the lights on a SmackDown. And we know that was just because Randy Orton is not walking away with the title tomorrow night either. So they just want Randy Orton to be built up, right? So you're going to beat the henchman of Roman. But that loses its luster when the henchman is losing all of his matches. Right? Again, 22 straight, actually. Television, pay-per-view, house shows around the world. No matter where this dude's showing up, he's taking L's and everybody is taking inventory. He's a loser, not a winner. That's what you're telling the audience. It loses its luster. So Randy beat Solo, but I can't even tell you there was a significant impact with that W. Does nothing. So it looks like they're going to do the same thing this week, right? This time it's LA Knight, and he's going to beat Solo. So just like Randy last week, we're going to build up Randy because he's not going to win the Rumble, but we want people to believe he's going to, right? Still Randy. So they have Randy win last week. This week, LA Knight takes the W, right? Tonight. Most likely. And then people are going to go, what? LA Knight, man, he's a winner. He's got a real chance to take the title tomorrow night. The common denominator in all this is Solo Sikoa is just laying flat on his back looking up at the lights. That type of consistently bad booking, consistent L after L after L, that's detrimental. So if you ever decide to push this dude in the future, finally, good luck digging him out of the hole you dug for him, because you keep digging it further and further down. This dude's trying to get out of it now. He's been trying to get out of it last week, last month. That's the problem I always tell you guys, right? If you keep going with really bad booking and everybody just turns a blind eye and says, he'll get a push in the future, relax. The problem is so much damage is being done that when you finally give him that push, is anybody going to care anymore? Solo Sikoa has been irrelevant ever since the John Cena beatdown, the annihilation that he gave Cena. And he was in all the headlines, and people like BC were like, whoa, if they do this correct, Solo's going to be a megastar. And within just 2 weeks, we were like, what are they doing with Solo? Within a month, we were like, he's even on the show? There was weeks he wasn't even on. You didn't even know about it. And ever since, one L after another. Point is, you just can't have Solo keep losing like this, man, just to help Roman's matches because he doesn't show up on the week-to-week basis. So because Roman's not there, Solo has to eat loss after loss after loss. Jimmy Uso is just the whipping boy times 10 as well. Jimmy Uso, I can't even tell you his win-loss because it doesn't even matter. And that's sad. The Usos are my favorite tag team. Jay and Jimmy. And it's sad to not even care about what Jimmy's doing because it doesn't matter. And if fans feel that what you're doing doesn't matter, good luck bouncing back from that. Solo Sikoa is now involved in things we don't even care about. Randy, I mean, he talks this big. He's the enforcer, right? This is the dude where he doesn't say much, and you just know, Solo just looked at you. Or, here comes Solo. You're supposed to feel like this. You better run. Solo's coming. If Solo is just losing every match, how scared are you gonna be? It's like if the Undertaker, right? He comes down, he does his 10-minute entrance. He's the dead man, and everyone's like, oh my, it's this Undertaker, bro. I would not want to meet this dude. And 5 minutes later, he's eating another L looking up at the lights, right? And then he gets up, his music hits, and he slowly goes back up the aisle after taking another loss. And Undertaker loses 22 matches in a row. You're probably not going to look at the Undertaker the same. You're going to go, pretty cool character. Not so badass. That's what's got BC saying why. First and foremost, neither one can lose. When you break down why, if you're telling me, BC, this is like I just discussed. This is what they do, right? Randy Orton last week, LA Knight. They have them win matches before because they know they're going to lose the pay-per-view. Then get more creative is all I'm asking. Get more creative. For instance, I'll give you a for example, right? Just so I'm not just like, but BC, you're saying that, but you don't really have any ideas yourself. Yes, I do. LA Knight wouldn't even be wrestling tonight. Wouldn't even be wrestling. You know what I would do? Have a creative segment plan for him. I say this all the time. You guys remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin really exploded on the scene? It was when he had the broken neck, Owen Hart. And he broke his neck, had the IC title, relinquished, whatever, and he couldn't wrestle. But they didn't want him off the shows because they got creative. They're like, well, we understand you can't wrestle, but rather than just have you sit home because you have momentum, what if we just had you show up every week and just do wild shit? We just got creative and had fun. So they would have him show up in a cement truck, loading cement into Vince McMahon's Corvette. They would have him bring a beer truck to the ring or a Zamboni. They'd have him chasing people down in a monster truck. They'd be doing the wildest thing, and the ratings would just keep going up. People were talking about it. Headlines were grabbed. Did you see what Stone Cold did on Monday? It was so much fun. Why don't we do that anymore? LA Knight's not injured. That's great. He's got a big match, though. He ain't going to win, it doesn't look like. So let's actually build him up. Let's really get people talking about LA Knight and how badass he is or how much fun it is, man. Let's really put him in the headlines. Don't just throw him in a match with Solo just to beat Solo. Because that's redundancy. That's not too much fun. If the show ends tonight and LA Knight's holding his hand up or got his hand held up and Michael Cole says, "Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow for the Rumble." How exciting is that? Are you really going to be so excited? Man, I can't wait to see BC's review. Listen to BC's review, man. Listen to him review LA Knight versus Solo, man. What a win for LA Knight. That's not fun. I would have some creative segments planned. Orton last week, LA Knight this week. That's how I would be building individuals, period. I wouldn't be relying on just the week-to-week episodic shows, wrestling-wise, to get these dudes over. That would be the cherry on top. Cool. But the entire Sunday would be built on other facets and areas. So I wouldn't even be doing this match. And again, it does nothing for Solo. I only see that ending that one of two ways, right? Solo literally eats an L flat on his back looking up at the lights. Clear loss. Or there's some schmozzery, Bloodline gets involved, and Randy comes down, maybe AJ Styles, and it ends in a melee, right? That would be the only thing that would save Solo, because I don't see Solo beating LA Knight. The only way that would happen is maybe because Roman's going to be there, correct? Maybe Roman Superman punches LA Knight with the ref's back turned to Jimmy and Paul Heyman, turns around, LA Knight eats an L because of the bloodline. But Roman's winning on Saturday night, so you don't want to see the same finish. I doubt WWE would do that. This is either going to end with Solo losing, or they'll throw the match out in the end, which is going to be the best bet for Solo. Just a weird match, man. It's just not needed because neither man can lose, and it doesn't lead to anything fun. You're trying to build the Fatal 4-Way. Solo facing every single one of the people in the Fatal 4-Way aside from his cousin. You can't do better? You can't have more fun than that? We'll be watching. I'm intrigued to see how they actually finish this thing because it's got to be done accurately. Just don't know if they're going to pull that off. So that's it. Aside from that, I mean, it's a big question for BC. Why WWE? But it's a card that has potential. I really think if done correctly, it could be a fun card that when we do the review, should be a lot of positive to talk about. But if it doesn't get pulled off correctly, we're going to have to talk about that too. Because that's what we do on the channel. Guys, I think that's going to do it for now. Over half. I tried to put this within a half an hour. That didn't happen. So until next time, and there will be that next time. Again, that'll be later this evening. Unless some breaking news comes up, there could be an upload. I always stay subscribed and notified anyway. You'll be the first to know when an upload comes up, and we'll rock out. But if not, then later tonight, the SmackDown review, it will be up at some point after SmackDown. You won't have to wait till the weekend. And speaking of Saturday night, tomorrow night, Royal Rumble, I hope to be live for the entire Rumble, a live review, live watch along, good, the bad, and the ugly. So, and I'll have the chat open up a few hours before that. If you guys want to come in, say what's up. We'll just have a whole Royal Rumble party tomorrow. So make sure you guys check out the channel tomorrow night during the Rumble. Even if you can't stay the whole time, stop in during the Rumble, say what's up to BC and his entire unit. All right, that's it. Until next time, and it will be that next time. Top guys, we are out. BC saying, check you. Peace. Salute.